Hello, you're watching SoundersFC.com. I'm Ross Fletcher and it's time again for the CenturyLink Scouting Report. The Sounders next up at Western Conference foes Real Salt Lake. It's the first meeting of these two sides since the Sounders' memorable playoff win back in November at Rio Tinto Stadium. Jason Christ, the RSL coach, has lost 3 key players in the off-season because of salary cap constraints, so no longer is there Will Johnson, Fabian Espindola or Harmison Alave in their squad. RSL won on opening day. Since then, they've lost twice and drawn the other. Here are their players to watch. Nick Raimondo, one of the league's best keepers. He's back from international duty and was badly missed last Saturday as the team lost to FC Dallas, with stand-in Josh Saunders having a bit of a nightmare on his debut. Raimondo recorded his 100th MLS clean sheet on opening day, and he's well remembered for an outstanding display against Seattle in the first leg of the Western Conference playoffs last season. Luis Gil. Growing expectation here on the talented young attacking midfielder, especially with Javier Morales suffering more injury problems. At 19 and already in his 4th season, Gil's growing into his role as a playmaker. He's got quick feet and a good first touch. Now his challenge is to turn that into goals and assists. Robbie Findlay, the striker's returned for a second spell with RSL, having spent 2 years in the English Championship. Hoping to emulate his 2009 MLS Cup winning form when he scored in the final, he's got frightening pace and he could be an ideal foil for high-scoring strike partner Alvaro Saborio. Now, you may well have noticed these two teams met 5 times last year. One of the striking statistics out of that was just 1 goal for each side over those 5 games. Real Salt Lake known for strong and stingy defence. One of the issues, they had a solid, settled back line. But that is no more, with Harmison Alave gone and injuries to Chris Wingert and Nat Borchers. As such, RSL's defence this year hasn't been quite as good, and they've also been making uncharacteristic errors. The first one we're going to show you is Chris Schuler in the recent game against Colorado, guilty of overplaying rather than keeping the simple pass on, as you'll see in this attacking move by Colorado. So the ball down the right-hand side, Schuler, instead of getting the ball clear from out of his feet, takes too many touches, and Deshaun Brown says thank you very much. Schuler guilty of trying to overplay. The goalkeeper was an option here. He also had a central defender with him, but he wanted to take the ball under control despite being tightly pressured. You can't afford to do that when you've got a player like Brown who, as he proved, can finish tidily. An error by RSL that we haven't really seen creeping into their play until this year. One of the veterans was also at fault for what could have been another Colorado goal later in the game. Tony Beltran, usually such a strong presence at right back. But again, that issue of overplaying coming to the fore. What we'll see here is Colorado building down their left-hand side and Tony Beltran out on the right, doing his defensive job well here, as you'll see the 1-2 from Casio. He does everything right, will stop the play here, covering that run from Casio and picking the ball up. His options, facing his own goal, well, not his central defender here. He can't play that pass too risky. Maybe he can tuck it inside, but the percentage pass is the first-time ball back to the goalkeeper where Raimondo could make a first-time clearance. But as you'll see, Beltran wants to take the ball on himself, and keeping that possession gets him in all sorts of trouble. There's the possession, offering the ball up to Tony Casio, putting his team in a real pickle until Nick Raimondo helps him out. So RSL have been struggling with 1 or 2 errors in the back line, but in the last game, Nat Borchers came back from a long-term injury to play against FC Dallas, and he added some veteran savvy, some experience, which we're about to see on this Dallas breakaway. So Fabian Castillo down the flank, he pierces the back line with this run from Kenny Cooper. Here's Borchers though covering. Watch his run here as the play develops down the right and Josh Saunders moves fractionally out of position. Borchers, seeing the danger, acts as almost like a reserve goalkeeper and makes a fantastic clearance off the line to save his team's bacon. Let's take a look again closely at Nat Borchers. You'll see here he identifies his keeper Josh Saunders, comes too far out of his goal at the near post to defend his net. So instead of taking up a position in the middle here, Borchers. He goes back to the goal line to try and stop that chance. Here it comes to the right. Borchers sees that his keeper's moving out, takes a quick glance back to the goal line and stops Kenny Cooper from scoring a certain goal. That real veteran savvy is exactly what RSL need if they're to stop their leaky defence in this campaign. So if you want to watch the Sounders at Real Salt Lake, you have a choice of options as always. It's a 6 o'clock start for us. Casey Keller and myself with you on Kong TV and also on Cairo Radio. I'm Ross Fletcher. That's your CenturyLink scouting report on SoundersFC.com.
Tanzania, the land of Kilimanjaro, Zanzibar and the Serengeti.